Hey, welcome to The Feast Life, where we empower you, the modern homeschool mom, to create a life and homeschool you love. I'm Julie Ross, the creator of the award-winning curriculum, A Gentle Feast, a homeschool veteran of over 20 years, and a certified Christian life coach. Charlotte Mason said, life should be all living, not a mere tedious passing of time. So on this show, we seek to savor the feast of life. So go get your favorite beverage and pull up a chair. You're welcome at this table. Hello, welcome to The Feast Life. I'm your host, Julie Ross, and today I'm going to be sharing a clip from a class that I did on decluttering. Are you feeling overwhelmed by clutter but don't know where to start? Well, you're not alone. I'm going to break down the decluttering process into simple, actionable steps that will help you create a home that feels peaceful and stress-free. And you'll discover the 15 everyday habits that will keep clutter from creeping back in. No massive overhaul required. By this end of this episode, you will feel equipped and motivated to start creating a home that aligns with your vision, one small decluttering step at a time. So let's dive in and learn how to make decluttering doable and maybe even a little fun. So that's one of the things we're going to talk through here. It feels good, but intimidating. Yes, I actually love decluttering. It feels so good. But yes, again, where do I start? What do I do? That kind of thing. So I think it's important, or sometimes we say, oh, I just got to get rid of stuff. Like, how do you feel when you're like, oh, I got to get rid of stuff? Do you like getting rid of something? No, right? None of us want to give up stuff. And so our minds automatically give us that, yeah, I like the end result, but not going through it. Yeah, we are automatically like, wait a minute, well, why are we getting rid of stuff here? You might need this for later. Or this might be super important, or, well, we better hold on to this. We got to keep ourselves safe. We got to keep our stuff, right? We want to shift maybe how we look at and approach what it is this whole process is. Again, it's decluttering. We're not going to call it, I don't know, you can call it something else if that makes you feel better. But it's just thinking about it in a different way. So here are some statistics that kind of helped me wrap my brain around this whole process. 4% of Americans said they're overwhelmed by the clutter in their home. And 78% said they have no idea what to do with their stuff. So a lot of us are living overwhelmed, and then we don't know what to do with it. And when we don't know what to do about a problem that we have, that makes us feel more overwhelmed, right? More powerless, more hopeless, and the problem gets worse. We spend an average of 2.5 days a year looking for misplaced items. Wow. So again, the importance, why are we doing this? Why are we decluttering and organizing? It helps us find things. It helps our homes run more smoothly. Does that mean we're never going to misplace stuff? Absolutely not. But the fact that I have a little basket that my keys go into as soon as I walk in the door, very rarely do I end up looking for my keys. Now, every once in a while, I'll have a special occasion and I'll put them in a special purse and I'll forget to put them in the basket. That happens still, but the majority of the time that I spend looking for my keys is this big now. The majority of the time that my kids are looking for their shoes, because we have a place for the shoes, has gone down a lot as well. So when things are organized and you can see what you have and you know that everything has a home, it makes it a whole lot easier to find it. So again, that's one of the goals we're having here, is just being able to have our homes flow more smoothly. And here's a very interesting one. Women's stress levels are directly proportional to the amount of clutter in their homes. I wonder if men's stress levels are proportionate to the amount of clutter in their home. Nobody ever talks about that, but maybe it's just because we're home more or we see it more or something. I'm not really sure. I think I spend 5 days a year looking for things. Yeah, there's definitely seasons where I feel like we spend our whole month looking for something. But that amount has gone down for sure. Studies have shown that the amount of clutter, the amount of disorganization really does affect our mental health. It does affect our stress levels, because when you can't find something, right, you get anxious, you get stressed, you're trying to get out the door and you can't find the keys. That's stressful. Okay, so having a flow and rhythm for things does make things more calm, more peaceful in your home. It's not a helping your kids learn how to keep track of their stuff becomes a lot easier because they have a place to hang their backpack. They have a place to put their coat. They have a place to put their shoes. And you're still going to have to remind them. I still do this on a regular basis, but especially I feel like in teenage years, all those habits we built, like somehow their brains are developing too fast or something, and they forget where the shoes are supposed to go. We've been putting the shoes in the same place for the last 15 years. Okay. But having them a reminder, and then we can joke about it at this age, and then they go and they put the shoes away, but there's a place for it. So as I want you to think through, are we doing this? Because we always have to have a reason. Our brains, they love pleasure. They don't like pain. So if you associate decluttering and organizing with a chore, with something that's overwhelming, with something that's intimidating, with something that you don't really know how to do and you're not really good at, your brain is going to go give you a million reasons why you should not be doing this. There's that new show on Netflix, or, oh, you got this responsibility, or anything really. It could be an excuse because we just don't want to do this. We have all this resistance to it because it's the way that we're thinking about it. So I'm like to encourage you to view this process as something that is empowering, as something that you are doing to create the home and the life that you want. How do you want your home to feel? What do you want your home to be like? What do you want the atmosphere and the people in your home to experience? And is the amount of clutter and organization in your house contributing to that vision of what you want? And if the answer is no, one of the ways that we can accomplish that vision is through this process, and seeing this as, this is a way for me to not feel so overwhelmed, to not have these stress levels that studies are showing that I have when I have too much clutter in my house. And here's the thing. You don't live in an Airbnb. I don't know, maybe you guys do, but most likely most of you don't live in an Airbnb or a hotel, right? You live in a house with real people and they're messy. And if you're home a lot and have little children, it's going to be more messy. And the goal is not to live in an Airbnb. So you don't want your house to look perfect, like it's in Magnolia magazine and there's never stuff ever anywhere. That's not realistic. Okay. But you want it to be where it can quickly and without a ton of effort go to being clean and tidy if it needs to where everyone can find the things that they need to find, that there's a flow and a rhythm for all the stuff in life so it doesn't become overwhelming. Because what happens is with one little thing, if you let the ball drop there, then all the other balls stop. It's like clutter attracts more clutter. Has anyone noticed that? I've noticed that in the schoolroom this week with trying to organize these books. My kids started leaving more stuff out, and then I started adding more stuff to the piles. And before you know it, it's like the clutter demon has taken over this room. And I'm like, what happened? And then something that was just like a small pile has become huge, right? And then it feels even more overwhelming and we don't even know where to begin or where to start. So by keeping clutter at a minimum and having things that are organized and a flow to things, then that clutter monster doesn't happen. Like I said in the last call, I moved like 13 times in my grown-up life after college. And so I had to declutter on a regular basis in order to stage my house to sell it and then to be able to move. But the benefit of that was it forced me to clean stuff up. But we've lived here a year and a half. And so the clutter little bunnies have started to come out of different spaces. And so it's just a process of things that need to happen on a regular basis. And so I feel like spring cleaning is a perfect time to tackle some of these. You're not going to be able to declutter and organize your whole house this spring, just letting you know, unless your house is already pretty much decluttered and organized and you have to pick up a few things, right? But if you have a big area that has the clutter monster has taken over residence there, okay, that might be a big project. That might be something that you want to break down even more. So if it's a basement or a garage or like a kid's toy room, a school room, something that is going to require more decluttering and more organization because it has gone off the rails, you might just want to focus on one section. So I'm only going to organize the large equipment in my garage, or I'm only going to organize the books in my schoolroom, or, oh, we're only going to organize this one section of toys. Okay. To start there, instead of feeling like this whole space needs to be decluttered and organized, what's one area that you could focus on? Okay. There's lots of things that I want to do in my bedroom. There's lots of areas that can be decluttered in my bedroom, but I'm not going to focus on all of them. So one of them is going to be your closet. I decluttered it. I took 4 bags to Goodwill, four bags of stuff from my closet to Goodwill. Again, it's finding something that's doable. This week, our mini project is cleaning a junk drawer, just one. If you have more than one junk drawer. I have one in my kitchen, and then I have one next to my bed, and my nightstand has now turned into a junk drawer. So I'm going to do the one in the kitchen. If I'm really motivated, I might do both, but let's pick one junk drawer that you have that we're going to clean, because once you learn this decluttering and organized process with something simple like that, this is going to help me get the vision that I want for my home. This is going to make me less stressed. This is going to produce the results that I want in my life, and that this is a necessary part of that process. All right, so let's talk about decluttering a little bit. When I declutter, now I don't do this with the junk drawer because it's not that much stuff, okay? Unless you have a really big junk drawer. But let's say we're doing a closet or something like that, okay? So I just told you guys I'm in the process of redoing my closet, okay? So I just took 4 bags to Goodwill. So how did I decide what to do with all my stuff, okay? So I recommend you have 4 boxes, bags, whatever. And one's donate, one's trash, and one is store. That's 3 bags. Sorry, or boxes. 3 boxes. And then the rest I keep, right? So I put it somewhere that I'm going to keep it, okay? And go through it at some point there. So like I said, is 4. And as I'm going through stuff, I'm like, okay, do I want to donate this? So the stuff that I gave to Goodwill. Is this something that just needs to go in the trash? Like it's broken and has a stain on it. There's no point. Nobody's going to want this, right? Is it something that I want to keep? So, okay, I like this shirt. I'm going to keep this shirt. A lot of that I just hung back up on my closet, or I could put in a box of things I'm going to keep and organize at some point. Or is it something I want to store? So out of season clothing is super important to have a bin in the system for what you do with that, especially with kids' clothes and how fast they grow. But just for my closet, for simplicity's sake, I live in South Carolina. I'm not going to be wearing that sweater anytime soon for a long time. Okay, so we are in full spring here, and it's just going to keep getting hotter and hotter until October. So 9 months out of the year, I'm not going to be wearing that sweater. So why keep it in my closet, right? I can easily put it in a bin and put it in my attic, and that makes my closet less cluttered. It's easier for me to find things. So getting those kind of things out of the way. So you have your 4 bins. What I ask is, does the current me love this? So I don't say, do I love this? Because at some point I loved this. Otherwise, like, why did I buy this or get this, right? Or maybe I got it as a gift, so I didn't have that choice. But right now, in the current season of life that I'm in the current stage of my life, do I love this? If the answer is no, automatic, it's going away, right? Do I have a place for this to live in my home? Okay, so if not, it might mean that I need to figure out where this needs to go in my house, right? So it might just need a home, or it might mean I just need to get rid of it. This doesn't fit into the house and the environment I'm trying to create. Here's one. Have I used this in the past 6 months? And I'm not talking about seasonal things. So if you have like Christmas dishes, right? That's not what I'm talking about. But your normal everyday stuff, you're going through your junk drawer, your closet, under your sink. Have I even used this thing in the past 6 months? If not, I automatically get rid of it. Can I easily replace or borrow this item? I think oftentimes you could fall into the trap of, I need to keep this because I might need this when. And I used to do this a lot, especially with stuff for my kids, like homeschool stuff, art supplies. I used to keep so much of that stuff because it was like, I might need this then. I might, if I decide that we're going to do XYZ art project, I might need these empty oatmeal containers. So I should save them somewhere. And it was like, but how easy would it be to just go buy another thing of oatmeal if I actually got inspired to actually do the actual thing ever, or borrow it from someone, or ask people, do you have any empty oatmeal containers, right? Rather than me having this huge giant storage of craft supplies, of random household things that's just taking up space, but I can easily replace or borrow them. So then you might want to not always save all those things because adding to the clutter of your house. Is this item broken or damaged? So unless you are amazing at fixing things and someone in your family is a great fixer or like Mr. Widget technology person, if it is broken or damaged, it probably needs to go. If you cannot fix it quickly, easily, or cheaply, you need to let it go. Here's another one. Is this costing me more to keep than it's worth? Not just in terms of like financially, that's not what I'm saying, but just in terms of like your own stress level. Is keeping this thing costing me more than this item is actually worth? And oftentimes the answer is yes, it is costing me more. And so I need to release it. It's not a getting rid of stuff, it's releasing the things that are holding me back and causing me stress and anxiety. Can I display this item in my home? So that's another thing, is to think through different uses for different things. My one daughter has a whole record wall in her bedroom and it looks fantastic. We got these like they're just like little record shelves. I guess you buy them on Amazon. They're like this big and they hold records. So she wanted to redecorate her room, but instead of going and buying all this art and like doing all this other stuff, we already had the records. So we just got those little shelves and like, it looks awesome. So at one point you might've really liked XYZ thing. And then now your decorating style has changed, or just what's important to you. Like I was saying with the picture books, like I got rid of a lot of picture books when I moved to my current house a year and a half ago. I kept a lot because I'm a book person, but if there's one thing I'm going to keep and spend money on, it's going to be books. But like I said, they were mostly in storage up in my attic. And the ones that I kept were the ones that my children loved. And obviously that was true, because when I brought them out, they were just like, oh my goodness. All these Caldecott award-winning books I kept because I want those for like my grandchildren someday. And so for me, it might not fit with the current vision of my home, but it's something that fits with the vision of my life, which is sharing books with children. And so I'm going to keep them, but I'm going to keep them out of the way because there's not something that we use on a regular basis. Don't let this become super overwhelming. Sometimes, like with your junk drawer, you don't have to sit there and go, oh, does this pen align with the vision of my home? Does this pen work? Yes or no? Okay, put it back in the junk drawer. Here's another one. I'm keeping this out of guilt. If it's a present that someone bought you and you have never actually ever used that present, then you need to regift it if you're okay with that. And I actually have a bin in my closet where I keep wrapping stuff, those bags you get for all those birthday things, wrapping paper, that kind of thing. And then I have another bin of regift things. So my kids have something, they're like, oh, I need a present for so-and-so. I'm like, okay, go look in the gift box. But oftentimes it's things that I got and I didn't need or want. And so I just put it in there. Some people don't regift. Then you can just give it to Goodwill. That could be your gifting. But if you're keeping it out of guilt, that item is only going to cause more stress and clutter in your life. Will I realistically use this someday? Again, it's I'm keeping this for someday stuff. That has someday ever realistically come for some of the stuff that you're holding on to? If not, then again, might be worth giving that to someone else. Do I have a duplicate or something that can be used instead? You don't need 7 can openers. We don't need 10 different plastic cups. So do I have more than one of it? If so, I probably can give the other one away. Or could I use something else instead to serve that kind of purpose as well, like a storage container or something like that? You can repurpose different things for that. And then think through what feelings come up as you declutter. So if this is something where you're going through this, sometimes it does bring up emotions like, man, why did I buy so much stuff? I wasted so much money. And we can get on these downward spirals where we're beating ourselves up for things. Or why did I let this all accumulate? I should have gone through this before. You want to get those thoughts and those feelings out as you're working through this process, because that'll be something that we're going to work through. All right, good. All right. So here are some things to think through. So once you start decluttering this process, it's important to think through, what can I do on a regular basis to keep my home from getting more cluttered? Because if you are working on decluttering and then your home is getting more cluttered at the same time, I once heard this saying that cleaning with little children at home is like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos. Right? Do you ever feel like that? Like, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm trying to organize all this stuff, but then we're getting more stuff, and this is all getting messy over here while I'm working on this one room. This whole rest of the house falls apart. So we don't want that to happen. So we want to, as we're working on one area, keep some of these habits that I'm going to talk about, start building some of these so that the clutter monster doesn't grow back. Because what you don't want to do is declutter, organize, and then 3 months from now, it's all come back. So here are some really simple habits. I have 15 little simple habits for you. And I want you to think through, what can I practically do with some of these? You don't have to do all of them, right? You need to do what works for your family in the current season of life that you're in. Which of these are going to be the most helpful? I don't remember when I heard that, but I've been doing that forever. And that is the best thing, because I hardly have any paper clutter ever. So as soon as I walk in from getting the mail, I walk right into my kitchen, right in front of the trash can, and I sort it. So automatically throwing away 80% of that stuff. Now I'm looking at this big pile of stuff. I don't really want to go through that big pile. That doesn't sound like fun, right? And I'm making something harder and more difficult. So it's these little habits that simplify things, that just make everything so much easier. Okay, number 2, make your bed. That sounds like a cleaning habit, not a declutter habit, but having a nice clean surface makes the room feel less cluttered. So even if you have a pile of dirty laundry over here, and we'll talk about that in a second, a pile of books over here, if you have a nice clean bed surface, the room looks less cluttered, okay? And then you're more likely to throw a bunch of junk onto your bed if it's made as well. So clean and decluttered spaces encourage more clean and decluttered spaces. Again, so instead of the clutter monster growing, we're having this organized monster growing. So making your bed every morning is huge.
Today's episode is brought to you by A Gentle Feast. A Gentle Feast offers a complete living books curriculum, an award-winning early reading program, and more tools to equip you to apply Charlotte Mason's timeless philosophy into your modern homeschool. Go to agentlefeast.com to check it out. Smooth and easy days are closer than you think.
Okay. The third one, keep your kitchen counters clean. So this was really big for me with moving so much. So one of the things they tell you when you stage a house is to have nothing on your kitchen counters. And so I just got really used to having nothing on my kitchen counters. I can show you all, I could take a video. There's a few things. I have an air fryer on one counter. And then I have a utility, a jug with a bunch of like spatulas and things by my oven. And that is it. Okay. That's it. You want a nice, clear kitchen counter surface. So that means like little appliances like blenders, coffee pots, things like that. Take them out when you need them and then put them back. Keep it free of papers. So one of the ways I do that is with the mail, but even my kids, they know, do not put anything on this counter. Okay. If you need me to look at a piece of paper, you need to hand it to me or put it on my desk on my top of my computer. Do not put it on the kitchen counter. That's not where it goes. The nice thing about that is it makes, again, having this nice clear space just looks really nice and pretty. The problem is clutter loves clean, empty, flat spaces. People and yourself see this nice little clean kitchen counter or a nice cleaned off desk. And it was like, oh, here's a nice place to put a bunch of stuff. Again, we're trying to break that habit and keeping it cleared off as much as possible. Now, does it stay cleared off all day long? No. We're making breakfast. We got dirty dishes from lunch. But at the end of the day, and most of the time, my kitchen counter is cleaned off. Number 4, wash your kitchen sink before bed. I heard that one several years ago as well, and it makes a huge difference just having that nice, clean, shiny space at the end of the day. Number 5, laundry. Okay, so this might be like, oh, this is a cleaning one too, but no, laundry can be such a clutter monster. And what I used to do is I would take clothes out of the dryer and I would put them on my bed to fold at some point during the day. At some point during the day, it never actually happened. And then it was bedtime and I was just really too tired to fold the clean clothes by that point because I had 3 kids under the age of 3 and I was homeschooling. And so what would I do with the clothes, the clean pile of clothes on my bed? Any guesses? I would throw them on the floor so that I could get into my bed and go to sleep. And then when I woke up in the morning, guess what? The clean clothes were still on the floor. Like a little house elf had not come in the middle of the night and folded my clothes for me, unfortunately. How do you think that made me feel when I woke up and stepped on a bunch of clean clothes that I had already cleaned? Not so great. And I realized, okay, this system is not working. I think I'm going to fold all the clothes that are in this pile and it doesn't actually happen. And then I got more piles. And then after the clothes have been sitting on the floor for a couple of days, and you stepped on them, then they're actually dirty again. So then I have to actually wash them again. And it just was just creating this whole process. And I'm like, okay, something has to change. And I read somewhere about a system. So this is when I had little kids. So I had, 3 kids under the age of 3. I was homeschooling 2 young elementary children. And I read somewhere, actually I think it was Laura Bush, now that I think about it, had said, get the clothes as soon as they come out of the dryer. Don't ever take them out in a big pile and put them somewhere. Take them out of the dryer. And so she had hangers by the dryer. And then I had this shelf with bins for each child's name because they weren't old enough to do their own laundry at this point. So as soon as something came out of the dryer, like I would leave the clothes in the dryer and I would take them out. I'd fold them, put them in the bins with each kid's name, or I would hang them up on a hanger. We had a tiny laundry room at this point. It was part of our kitchen at this point. I did not have a ton of space for these bins or to hang things, or I didn't have a big laundry room at the time or anything like that. So this was all like in my kitchen here. But it made such a difference because that laundry clutter was really adding so much stress and weight to me. So my kids do their own laundry now, but it's the same thing where they have this process. And with my clothes, I do that. So I take them out of the dryer one at a time. I fold them. Most of my clothes I hang up actually. So that makes it super easy. I just have a stack of hangers right there by the dryer and I hang it right away. You know what happens when you hang something right away from the dryer? It doesn't get wrinkled. It's amazing because I do not like ironing. But if you put something in a pile and it lives on your floor for a week, guess what? It's a wrinkly mess. So that saved me the laundry time, right? It saved me the mental anguish of having to deal with piles and feeling overwhelmed and defeated all the time. Number 6 is everything needs a home. And I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it again. Everything needs a home. So as you're decluttering, as you're organizing, as you're going through the rooms, what is out in a pile and why? Is it because it doesn't have a home? Then you need to make a home for it. You need to make a home for the mail, make a home for your keys, make a home for papers, make a home for shoes, those kind of things. All right, number 7, have a place for coats and shoes and purses, backpacks, things like that by the door or by the garage, depending on how your house is set up. Now I have an actual mudroom when you come in from the garage, and I have hooks along the walls, and underneath each hook, I have a plastic milk, those old-fashioned milk bins, so that they can hang up their coat and they can put their shoes right under their coat or their backpack in that bin as well. I didn't always have that space. There were times when I did not have a mudroom, and the coat closet we had downstairs was a super little teeny tiny coat closet that didn't store any shoes or coats because nothing could fit in it, right? And I had 5 kids. So I actually found some old bookshelves. I literally found them on the side of the road. Anybody else? There's one of those people where I'm like, when you drive and you're like, and you I pulled over, got these old bookshelves. They were in great shape. And I drilled little coat hooks into them. I took one of the shelves off and drilled coat hooks into them. And then under the last 2 shelves, I put the kids' shoe buckets. And those shelves lined the wall going into our garage. The reason you want it right by the door is so that there's a place to put the coats and shoes and backpacks. Because if they come in the house past like the entrance here, they're going to end up all over the place. And the shoes will be in the living room and the coat will be in the kitchen and the backpack. Well, half the backpack stuff will be in this room and more will be on the steps, and it'll just be a parade of stuff. So you want to get rid of those things as soon as you enter the house. So have a space for them. And then when you're leaving, it makes it super easy. Where's your coat? Oh, it's right there on the hook where you left it, right? You don't have to go hunting for things again, saving those 2.5 days that we spend looking for stuff in our lives. So again, thinking through the current space that you have and how that would fit. So like I said, there was different stages of my life where we had different spaces, and I had to be creative with those bookshelves in one house because we didn't have any coat closet really or anything like that. So I had to have it all out in the garage, and that just really helped because again, that system of coming and going, how many times a day are you coming and going and stuff's coming in and out of your house? And if you have a system for that, it's just going to make everything so much simpler. I highly recommend hooks, especially if you have young children, because young children cannot hang things on hangers. So even my teenage kids, sometimes I know they're physically able to hang a thing on a hanger, but somehow hanging it on a hook is so much easier. So hooks are so much better for young children to hang backpacks, coats on, and getting them to learn to do that for themselves will just be such a time saver for you as well. All right. Number 8, wipe off the bathroom counter before bed. So this is just a simple habit I have at night. Take off my contacts, I wash my face. And then the last thing I do before I leave the bathroom in the evening is I just take a microfiber cloth and I just wipe it down the counter. Same thing with your kitchen counter. Your bathroom counter, you want minimal things on. I have a soap dispenser. I do have my makeup organizer thing in the middle of my bathroom counter, but sometimes you can't find the counter through the stuff on the counter. So if any of your bathrooms are like that, you want to try to think through, how can I minimize what's actually being shown on the counter? And that might mean you need to come up with a better storage system under your kitchen, your bathroom sink, and your bathroom drawers, because it just looks cleaner and neater when there's very few stuff on the counter. It makes it easier to maintain and easier to clean. And again, clutter grows more clutter. So the more stuff you have on your bathroom counter, the more stuff will naturally congregate there because it doesn't have a home. All right. Number 9, do a 15-minute after dinner tidy. Okay. So think through, your situation in life. Maybe it's you do a 15-minute tidy at a different time of day, but 15 minutes, getting everybody involved. Let's go all around and clean up here. It makes things so much easier on you when you have everybody involved, put on some fun music, right? Everybody's fed and happy. Don't try to do it before dinner because everybody's cranky before dinner, but it helps you clean up after dinner, helps you get the dishes done. You can make sure you have a clean kitchen counter, a clean sink. But it's amazing what you can get done in 15 minutes, especially if a lot of people helping. So having that 15-minute kind of time. Another thing that has helped me is having what I call like a downstairs basket. So during that 15-minute tidy, people could go around with that basket and pick up things that weren't supposed to be downstairs. Like I said, I have teenagers now, so it's not like I'm cleaning up a bunch of toys. But when they were little, the rule was that the toys couldn't be downstairs because I wanted to have a clean space. They could play with them all day long downstairs. But at the end of the day, they had to go back up to the room or back up to the garage or wherever that toy's home was. And we had a family room upstairs at one point, a playroom upstairs. But somehow the toys still managed to walk down the steps and end up all downstairs. So part of that 15-minute tidy was just having a basket of all the things that need to get picked up. Even now, like with my teenagers, they love blankets. And so they'll come downstairs to watch a movie and they brought down 5 blankets. Having a basket of things that at the end of the day, if anything in this basket belongs to you, it needs to get taken back upstairs and put away. It just makes things so much simpler. So during the day, if I see something and it's supposed to go upstairs, but it's downstairs, I can just throw it in the basket. I'm not having to make the trip upstairs or call somebody or deal with it. But at the end of the day, we have all the stuff that needs to go upstairs and we can easily put it up there. Also have a donation basket. I have this in my closet, wherever fits for you, so that I'm constantly decluttering. It's not like a one-time, once a year clutter fantastical carnival, right? You can do it that way if you want, but it's so much easier on a regular basis. You go, oh, why do I still have this book? Or, oh, this thing doesn't work anymore. Or this thing doesn't fit me anymore, whatever. And just put it in the donation basket without even thinking through it. Because otherwise, if you see this book that you're like, oh, I don't even know why I bought that. Like, I never read it and I don't really think I'm ever going to read it. I could just get it from the library if I really want to read whatever. You can just throw it in the donation box. But if you don't have a donation box or a donation basket, what do you do with the book? You might put it on the shelf. You might forget about it. And then it's just taking up more space. Or you might sit it down on the kitchen counter and go, oh yeah, I'm going to donate this someday. And then that clutter grows, right? So again, having a home for everything, but having this process where you're continually going through stuff and decluttering, again, keeps it from growing. So having a donation box is super helpful. I keep one in my closet all the time. All right. And then number 11, have memory baskets for your children. So each of my kids have a memory box. It's like a plastic tote that goes under the bed. And anything that they want to save goes in the memory basket. So I want to save this medal I got at this thing. I want to save this piece of paper from camp. I want to save this artwork I did at church, whatever it is. It goes in the memory box. Now, what happens when the memory box gets full? Then you're going to have to go through the memory box and get rid of some stuff. So it's teaching them to declutter because this is the memory box. And if stuff doesn't fit in here, we have to get rid of some of it and we'll get a new one. And most of my kids, by the time they got to be like 18, they ended up with 2. I took away one of the memory boxes when it was full from like their elementary years and put it away and got them a new one. And then when that one got full, they were grown. But It helps your children keep in the habit of things. It also helps you from feeling guilty from not keeping every little piece of artwork and thing your child made, because that clutter can add up so quickly, right? I do this picture for you, mommy. You're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? But teaching them, does this need to be kept? Okay. And do you want to keep it? This is so beautiful. Do you want to keep it in your memory box? Oh, no, it's getting full. I think I'd rather keep this one. So that was the rule. Like, if you want to put something into the memory box, you got to take something out, or you got to think through, I can't fit anything else in here. Maybe I don't need 45 pine cones from our nature walk a couple weeks ago, so I can take those out and put something else in there. You're teaching them how important it is to keep their space neat and organized as well, but it saves you from having to store all of your children's stuff, which can very easily grow and clutter. Can I get an amen for that? Okay. Number 12. Every new item that comes into your house must have a home right away. If you're going to buy this new thing, where in your house are you going to put it? Do you have a system in place for keeping track of that? I have now got to the point where I do not have any more room to keep books. It's very sad. But my new house has one of those little lending library houses outside by the road, which I love. It was one of the reasons why I love this house when I bought it, because it was like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect for me. And so now when I buy a new book, I take a book away and I go put it in the lending library. And I love it because I get to see the little neighbor kids and stuff coming over and like picking books out and stuff. So if I'm going to bring something new in, it has to have a space for it. And if the space is already full, like the memory box or my bookshelves, I have to let something out. But they're really like, they're not pretty. They're like the plastic totes that you get at Walmart that are like this high and they have wheels. So they like roll under a bed, but they're not pretty ones. I tried the pretty ones with my oldest two when they were little and they didn't last very long and they busted. So the plastic ones they're very durable. All right. Number 14, put your clothes away immediately. So if you're taking something off, hang it back up or put it back in the dresser or put it in the dirty laundry rather than throwing it on the floor. That just makes your closet, your room look so much neater. And here's the last one. If you can do the task in under 5 minutes, just do it now. So if you see something and it's out of place or socks on the floor that need to go upstairs, whatever, like just do it now. Like rather than going, oh yeah, I need to remember that I'm supposed to pay that bill. If you see it and you're up in your office, just pay it right then. Putting things off. When you keep putting things off, they seem to grow, right? They grow in our mind. They make us more overwhelmed. They'll grow in terms of cluttering. Then you might not find the bill because it's buried under XYZ. So like the things I shared with you, these are just little tiny habits. And again, if I'm sharing them with you because these are all things that have really tremendously helped me in my life. But if you're like, that's not going to work for me or for our season of life or whatever, don't worry about it. These things that I'm talking about, these declutter habits, are little things that you do every day. Some of them I don't even think about anymore. I don't think about, oh, I should go sort the mail out of the trash, or, oh, I should make my bed in the morning, or, oh, I should wipe down the counter. Like I just do it. That's what a habit is. It becomes something that's subconscious that you do on a regular basis that you don't have to expend the mental energy to think about. But it simplifies everything. It makes everything so much easier to find. Everything has a home, so everything is organized. And that's really going to make your life run a lot smoother when you have these routines and rhythms.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Let's wrap up with some key takeaways. Number 1, decluttering is a mindset shift. Instead of viewing decluttering as overwhelming or exhausted, reframe it as an empowering step toward creating a peaceful, organized home that aligns with your vision. Number 2, start small to build momentum. Begin with a simple task like decluttering your junk drawer before tackling bigger projects. Small wins lead to lasting motivation and success. Use the 4-box method. When decluttering, sort items into 4 categories: keep, donate, trash, and store, to make decisions easier and prevent unnecessary clutter from creeping back in. Number 4, adopt simple daily habits. Small habits like making your bed, sorting the mail over the trash can, and keeping your kitchen counters clean prevent clutter from accumulating and keep your home feeling fresh. And number 5, be intentional about what you want to keep. Ask yourself key questions like, does this item serve my current season in life? Is this costing me more in stress than this item is worth? And if it doesn't fit your vision, let it go. As you move forward, set a realistic project goal this week and take one small actionable step towards decluttering your home and building these new habits. I hope this episode was helpful. Thanks for listening.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this episode, please heart it down below and make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave a comment and let me know what you learned in today's episode. I'd love to hear from you.